Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Hello friends, today we will discuss about the function and procedures in SQL. Till now we have discussed that what are the built-in functions that SQL provides us. Today we will more discuss into how a user-defined function is computed in SQL and procedures along with it. We will see different sections of using function and procedure and the programming construct that we can use while summarizing the functions. SQL functions are built into the system-wise that we can use to perform all the fetching, inserting, updating the schemas, all the data values. Now, if I want to use some business logic or logical functions that is other than the basic function provided by the SQL, so we can do it by using the function and procedural constructs that the SQL features provide us. So we can use our logic that to say that a number of years that an instructor has taught, that I want to create a function of it and make it on every database of the year wise on a university enterprise, or for that how much salary or the previous years of that particular department get on a particular employee details. So these are the functions that we can make on our own logic and use that function for the purpose. So the function really needs and related logic on to perform every database, but we need to first summarize our idea, then put it into a functional construct. We can even use some host languages syntax construct, say for example C, C++, Java, by embedding it to the SQL and providing us the features of using that construct in our SQL feature. Often we use the function and procedure in the particular company's SQL features. Say for Oracle PL SQL is there, Microsoft there is a database or MS Access. Now we will define a standard SQL statements for defining function and procedures, but there are no general use of it as already the company has developed their own SQL standard to actually use it. So first we will see a basic structure of function, that how to write it and get calculate of a particular relation. Look at the syntax of the SQL first. We are using the keyword create function to create a particular function named department count, which will count the number of departments in an enterprise. Now we are using the department name as a variable or argument that is being passing to the function department count, and the variable's character type is varchar 20. So that is a character type, data type of the variable. Next, after the function I have created, I am using the returns integer. That means the function will return an integer of the data type value while performing the calculations on the department name wise, counting on the particular relation instructor. Now see, when I will evolve the ideas more further, you can see the main difference between function and procedure is the function returns a value and procedure doesn't return a value. That is the main difference of using function and procedure in different ideas of the SQL statements. So after that, I have made the return statement or the return type of the function in this way. We can now begin with the function body with the begin statement. See, I am using the statement declare, then the name of variable, that is DC or department count, as an integer variable. So if I want to declare a variable and the data type, I should write it like declare space the variable name space the data type name in the particular functional constructs of SQL. Now I will perform the operation. See, I am using an SQL query as a body of that function to perform the execution of the query. Now I am selecting the count star, that means all the tuple records on the relation, into this variable that I have declared as a part of the function. Now from the instructor, where instructor.department name, that is the value of the particular relation, and the department name as I have inputted in the argument of the function. If these two matches, then I am calculating all the tuples inside the instructor relation. As now I have performed that, DC has got all the department count or the number of departments in the instructor relation. Now we've returned DC as a part of the relation or the function body. So in this way, we can actually create a function, then return the integer or the return type, then begin statement will begin the function body and end statement will end the function body. See, we do not really need the braces, just as the host language constructs or syntactical way. So we can just put begin and end to declare that we have started the function body and ended the function body. So in this way, we can use the function in our SQL statement. Next, we can even use a table as a result of a function that we want to fetch and calculate. Say I want to fetch a view or a particular view based on some logic on the database again and again. So we can create a function to have table as the result, and that will be considered as a parameterized view, because the view has got some parameters in terms of the function. Now the attributes of a relation is considered as parameters of that particular relation when function is considered. So now I will see that how to convert a query to a table fetching function. Say now I want to fetch the information of the number of instructors in a department. If it is greater than equals to 12, then I want to see the department names and their average salary. So now I will use that department name budget, that are the attributes from the instructor relation, where see I have used the function name here, that is department count, which I have defined just previously. Now the department count, if the department name is greater than 12, then I will have the department name and budget. So after defining the function, we can use the function name in any SQL queries to use of that particular function. Now I can use the department count and another query. I don't need to write it again as I have already defined the function. See, I have used the keyword table here. That means that it will return a table rather than returning a single valued data type. And I have used the instructor of as a function name, whereas department name as a variable name. See, now I have declared the table here that has got 4 data types or attributes: ID, name, department name, and salary, which is the varchar, 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 and numeric of the data type. Now I have used that, I have defined the table type that I will return. Now that is the returns, means that I am defining the schema of the table. Now I will use the keyword return to actually return the value to the table. So that the difference we need to mark, that returns table means I am defining the table structure on which I want to return the value on that particular table. Now see, I have used that I run to return a table selecting all the attributes from instructor, where the relation dot department name equals to function name dot department name. So if the functions department is same as of the relations department, then I will take the values of the tuples from that relation as my new table or the parameterized view on that particular table. So the table is none other than a parameterized view here, because I have used some parameters to define the view and then get the result on that view to have our actual result. Now I can put an SQL query to use this function to fetch the result of a particular department. See here, I am using select star from table, that is the instructor of finance department of that particular table. I have used the table or the function name instructor of dot the department name finance here, so that I can get all the number of instructors of the finance department and the values of the tuples against that particular predicate. So in this way we can use the function to create a table or a parameterized view out of another big relation. Now see, I have used table keyword here other than using the actual table name, because I have returned a table from the function instructor of. Now I can construct the same function to count the department number and along with it its instructor numbers in a procedure. As I have previously mentioned that the procedure does not return a value. So how to construct a procedure to use that a number of instructors in a department? Let us see how to do that. See, in this procedure, I have created the keyword create procedure. After that, the procedure name, that is step count proc. See the use of in and out here. The in and out in the arguments of a procedure respectively defines that this is the in variable or the argument to the procedure, and this is the out variable, or the procedure will have this much integer as a result as a department count name. So whenever I am putting an in, that means that I am inputting this value to be considered as a part of the function, and the out variable, that the result of the procedure will be stored in that function. Now the department count can be used in any other SQL queries just as a function has does. So this is the procedure body that has begin with this, that the select count star into department count from instructor, where the instructor department name is equals to the procedure name dot department name. This is same as the function body, but the main difference and significant one is the use of in and out variable, where the function uses the returns keyword. Now there can be an inbuilt way to use SQL procedures, or we can define it explicitly and then call the procedures on behalf of that particular function or procedure. So the explicit way to call the procedure is, see, I have used this DC integer declaration and then call this procedure using the call keyword and given the physics as an input and the DC of this as an output to our procedure. So this is the explicit call to a procedure using the call keyword. If we can see and remember the difference, that when we call the function, we haven't mentioned any call keyword there, just put the function name. But to call the procedure, we need to mention the call keyword here. Next, I will talk about the language construct that is supported by a function and procedure. See, SQL support a range of construct language that we can put in an SQL function and procedure, and that is known as a persistent storage module or PCM. This PCM provides us that we can use any of the while, for, or other loop like the begin, end and declare statement construct that we have used some of in our function and procedures, and we will see the others that how to write it in this SQL construct. So the basic one is begin the function body or procedure body, then write the body along and put an end to signify that the body has been end. Now to use in declare, that means we are declaring a part of the integer or a part of the float or a part of character. That means we are declaring a variable and space its data type. So it is also being a construct of the language PSM that we are using in the SQL. Next we will discuss about a while. See, this is a while construct. When we put the keyword while, then the boolean expression against which the while should be checked, then the keyword do, then all the statements, and has written at least the end while. Now it provides also another construct that is known as repeat. It is more same like repeat, but it is generally counting against something and then performed until and unless the count has been reached. So the language construct for repeat is to use the keyword repeat, then do all the statements, and then finally write until the boolean expression against which I want to check and the count has been reached or not, and then write in repeat to signify that a repeat block has been completed. We also have a for loop to be introduced in an SQL language construct. Let's see with an example. Now see, this is a for construct for an SQL language. Now I have declared n as an integer which default value is 0. Now I have used for r. So this is the control variable r here that is here as a relation. So I'm selecting a relation r as I have selected the budget from the department where from the music. So I am selecting the music department's budget as my control variable. Now I am selecting n equals to n minus r dot budget. So the integer value that I have given, I am subtracting my budget from that integer value. Now I have put end for to declare that the for has been stopped. Now other than using the end for, I could have used leave statement here. So leave actually left with all the for statements and stop executing at once. So when I get end for, it actually returns it to the next set of the statements. But if I put leave, then it will leave, leaving all the tuples next to it on the music department, that it will stop the for and next go to the next language construct. So in this way we can use the leave just in the use for the continue statement and break statement. So the break will be there for the leave construct here. Next is the if construct, that is normal just in the case of the C++ construct to use an if else if. I will show you that how to write it the if construct. So this is a basic if struct, that is if checking condition, then the statements against it, else if there is any other condition, then the statements against it, and if all of the condition fell, then we will go to the else statements. And at last I have written end if to signify that the if block has been ended. Now we will solve a problem that creating a function and use all the language construct to register a student in a course if the capacity has not been executed. Now if it has been exited, then we will see that the return type will be 0 on a successful, and if not, then minus or negative value of the any other return. So now we are registering a student in a course if the capacity is not been exceeded. See here that I have declared is a function of register. See, the function is also can use the in and out variables. So I am inputting the SID, the course ID, section ID, semester and year of the particular student, and in the out I am declaring an error message that is a worker 100. So it is not more like returning, it is just displaying that error message. So that is why I am not using any return keyword here. Rather than I can using the in and out of the procedural construct. So the function can also use the in and out just like a procedure. Now that I have declared error message as an out, and other than that it is an all input. Now as I have mentioned that the function will not return any value, but it will return an 0 and -1 to show that the successful completion and the error completion of that particular function. So it is not actually returning any value to the database, but an integer to signify that what kind of successful or unsuccessful completion has been done to the function. So now I am selecting all the tuples into the current enroll integer, or the number of tuples in the current enroll integer from the text relation if all the course ID, section ID, semester and year matches with the student's information. Now I am declaring a variable limit that is of integer type and put the capacity into the limit where it is natural joining of classroom and section, that I need information from now both the classroom and section relation, where I have matched the course ID, section ID, semester ID and year of the student information to that of the natural joined classroom and section information. So now I have the limit as the capacity and then current enroll as the student information or the student who wants to get in some course. Now that if the current roll enroll is less than limit, that means the student belongs to the capacity. So I am just inputting all the values of the student into the text relation to show that the student has now been admitted to the course. See that I have begin and end the function body inside the if. So to show that the function has been performed on the basis on the condition that the current enroll is less than limit. Now I have returned 0 as a successful completion. Now I have to return another part to show that the error message has been generated as the error or the current enroll is not less than the limit. See here, I have set an enroll message or an error message that the enrollment limit reached for course, and the use of the delimiter, a double pipelining, that I am saying that this message is an constant character string. Now I have put some value from the course ID, sec ID and year. So this delimiter pipeline is actually defining the separation from a constant string to the values of variables. So that I am returning a -1 to signify that the completion has not been done on a successful basis. And I have finally ended the function body mean. So this is for registering a student in a course. Now we'll go to the language construct advancement on the SQL. Now SQL also support the exceptional conditional handling and also the declaration of handlers in the language construct. And that is the syntax for doing so. Now that the out of classroom sits is a condition that is an exception to the previous problem. So that if a student has been reached the limit of the enrollment, he can be offered a seat that is the out of classroom. So that is an exception condition, and we can use it like declare the name of the condition, then the keyword condition. After that, I have to declare an exit handler for particular of that condition. So the exit handler will handle that the classroom sits condition has been finished, and now I can begin the statements to reach to the condition and meet the satisfaction, and then end it just like a normal function. Now we will do some external language routines that can be performed on SQL. We can even use the external languages inside a database query. Just that we can embed it in a host language. Also, the host language can be embedded into the database query. That is called the sandbox. The sandbox feature is provided by Java and She Has. Now the Java and She has provided that even if we can use the memory constructor area of that particular program, the database query area's memory will not be processed for this purpose. So we can include the name of that particular construct language inside a database query and use its memory area to be done on the particular variable that we need and the construct that we need from that particular language. So we'll see that how to do that. See, I am creating a procedure, the depth count proc, the department name as an integer variable, and the in of the particular data type, and then out the count as an integer. Now I need to introduce a language C to have a construct into the particular procedure. See that I can now use all the C language and can be moved to a C language environment using this external name keyword with the path that I will place this depth count proc procedure inside the bin fill memory of that particular C language. Now I can also introduce a function to do so. So that just like the procedure, I have introduced the create function depth count, returns integer, and then same syntax with language C external name. Now that I have placed the function and procedure name inside the bin field of the particular C language's memory area, so I can use its memory area, other than using the database's memory area, so fetching or any other operation on the SQL query basis on that particular construct. So this is the basically sandbox facility which we can provide to the language construct as an external routine to our database query. So that is all for this function and procedure in SQL. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned with Ekeeda and subscribe to Ekeeda.